Just while Julianne isn't here, just between you and I, we all know you can never have too many onions. G'day all, welcome to another video from Sweeney's Creek Farm. Well, this one's a little bit different. Normally I'm the brawn, the muscle and the work, and I leave the more complicated stuff of doing the planting and looking after the plants to Julianne. But of course, as you've seen from the last video, we've got a little bit of an issue with Julianne's back at the moment, so she's out of action. So it's all hands on deck for me. My two black thumbs. I'll do my best to get these planted out. These beds have dropped down a little bit. The soil's compacted down and grown the tomatoes really well. So we're just putting a bit more soil in there and freshening it up with some more material, and before we get the onions in here. Local soil supplier, and it's a really good mix. It's got a nice smell to it, so it's going to go well. The reason why I'm not using mine yet is it's still brewing up in the compost bin. Hasn't been in there long enough yet. I've got to give that a turn over, get some more cow manure in there and get some more active ingredients in there. But certainly the next time we renovate these beds, we'll be bringing our own stuff in there, and this soil will be a good base to then incorporate our soil into as well. Oi, just because the fence is down, this is not an open invitation. Yeah, well, no. 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 Out. You two. Go on. Ugly. Oh. We've renovated the garden beds. We've brought in some new fresh soil on top, topped them up. Really nice soil. Yeah, it smells. Plants are actually going to really love it. We've got onions going in here. So acting under Julianne's instructions, I've made 4 channels, 4 grooves using a rake, and I've spaced out the onions laying down. All I'm going to do now is flick the soil over to them, get them set up in there, and they've got some really nice fresh rich soil to get started. We've got a lot of onions. One thing I want to have a go at this season is to try and pick them early and get some of the little pickling onions. Very traditional dish over here. Pickled onions goes well with fish and chips. One of my absolute favourites. I love to eat them, so a chance to make them for my first time will be great. So we've got a number of seedlings to go in. Onions going here. We've got some beetroot. We've got a few other things as well. So we'll just get into it, and we'll start getting them in the ground and growing as quickly as we can. Just a very light covering on them, just to make sure that roots are covered up. This soil's really warm as it's come out of the trailer. It's obviously been sitting there and composting down at the nursery. I'm hoping all these onions make it through. Will be a good crop. Followers of the channel would have seen our earlier video where we set up a worm farm. That worm farm had a mixture of sifted horse manure and other organic material that the worms love to feed on. I've been putting in some kitchen scraps in there as well. As the decomposition and the worms work inside that bathtub, and when it gets a bit of rain on it, and I also regularly go up and put a sprinkle of water on, there's a constant stream of liquid that comes out of that worm farm out of the bottom of the bathtub, and it's basically what we call a concentrated worm wee, and that's what I've collected here. It's black, it's rather pungent, and it's packed full of goodness, because it's all come from that process inside the worm farm. So what I've done here is I've put a couple of inches worth on the bottom of this watering can, and then added water to it to reduce the concentration, because as it's in its concentrated form, it can actually be a bit of a shock for the plant. So we water it out and we get those nutrients dissipating into the soil really well. We've used it a couple of times on the garden beds over here. It seems to be making a really big difference. It doesn't need much. This isn't to water it in, this is to actually apply those nutrients to give them a bit of a kickstarter. I'll put a full watering can on this bed. And combined with the mushroom mulch that's through this soil, it's certainly going to have plenty of nutrients to get going. And there we go. So garden beds have been topped up with some nice soil, and we've got 1 or 2 onion plants in here. Okay, it might be 3 garden beds with 4 rows. So just while Julianne isn't here, just between you and I, we all know you can never have too many onions. So that's the theory I'm going with. Worked with the tomatoes, it's going to work with the onions as well. We've gone ahead and planted 3 types of onions. We've got white, brown and red. Each of those has a different purpose. I really like the white onions in salad. Red onions, Spanish onions, have a really nice flavour when you're cooking, and of course the overall good all-rounder of the brown onions is very useful in many recipes. So we've got a real good selection here. Be interesting to see how they all turn out. As we said, we've put them in some fresh soil. We've topped them up with some diluted worm juice, and yeah, it'll be good to see how they go as we head into autumn. Still getting some nice sunny days, you can see, with the sun beaming down on me here, and hopefully the weather will continue to turn and we'll get some regular rain coming down, because it's really starting to green up a little bit, which is all going to be great. Thanks for coming along, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little video. Wish us luck with these onions, and we'll keep you updated how Julianne's going with her back and everything as well. So thanks for being here and supporting the channel. Hit that like button, and please consider subscribing if you're not a family member, and we'll see you around on the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.